Good morning and welcome to Frank's School. This cat Thor just wants to sleep right in front of the camera. Uh, he might go right back up, or I don't know. All right. Anyway, I'm back. I'm back talking about my movie, my imaginary movie, Resurrection. Whoops, this is 92, I think. 90, 92.1. I think I got that number right. Yeah. All right, I could say maybe 24th shot at this. I could say more secrets in a way. I'm done telling the story, but I'm going back and I'm adjusting some things. That's more what I'm doing than the secrets. And some ideas about production that I had thought of. I'm not going to let this just go away. It's tempting. If you looked at my last video, you saw that I was out there in what I call sort of the real world. But anyway, more secrets. The woodsman. He'll be Paul. He'll be Paul. Most famous woodsman, at least in America, Paul Bunyan. I'll use that. And his wife, Robin. Robin, because she's going to have a son, and that would be then Robin's son. I could maybe change that. And they together, actually mostly she is Mother Earth. All right, now the mountain bikers. I've made them two. My friend, or my Facebook friend Luis, he often has a bunch of bikers with him, but he also rides alone as he does his blog, which I hope you find. I don't think he'll mind. Here's the guy to find if you want to. Cavasso. He has a blog, and there you can see the Portugal, so many parts of the Portugal which is in my mind. Not some, well, yeah, with the Socalcos, that word. All right, anyway, there'll be Tom. Tom will be the main guy, and with him a woman, and there's going to be Astrid. This name that I like. You could even maybe call her Astrid Electra. Electra would go, and I'll show you why in a minute. Tom, when he introduces his leitmotif and timbre, well, he won't actually have a leitmotif. He'll play a guitar, and he'll be a lead man. So he'll, free-spirited kind of take a lead. I'm basing him on my friend, German friend. Thomas Hockling, who is a wonderful lead guitarist, and I think that this would work. I'm just not sure. Tom, my friend, tried to teach me about the blues note. I've got to learn more about that, the significance of the introduction of the blues note to music, and whether or not that would work with the kind of music I'm talking about. I don't know. But instead of giving him his own leitmotif, he would be the free spirit that would just, who knows what he would come up with. And Astrid, she will be his agent almost in a way, supportive. And she'll come up with a way to, with a battery, to amplify his lead guitar and maybe solar heated, or not, solar powered charging of it or something like that. I'm not meaning to, in this new myth, I'm not meaning to go back into a former imagined time. I want it to be real. I want it to be now. And I don't see the damage to the environment within reason, unless it's volume of solar electricity made from solar energy. Not for heat and not to run engines and not to power cities and stuff, but to power a battery so you could do a few things electric. I don't think that's bad. So anyway, that would be something new. Now, back in the story, I thought that Anna, when she's introduced, she's the woman that leaves Tomach and then walks past various a water wheel and a ruined mill and some waterfalls as she's making her way to the aldea. She could get slapped by her partner at the beginning. That would add some drama. I had said that she's a lesbian, and I don't, and I, you know, it's not a matter of having to explain why did that happen. You know, it's like leaving the audience wondering why did Marion kiss the feet of Bryn? What's going on? Yeah, you wouldn't have to say it necessarily, but she could slap her, and Anna could cry. So the tears, that would actually, what do you call it? Sequence. I can't think what the word is. Right in to the water. Segue maybe. All right. Now, I have realized that this is about production. What's needed now is a storyboard. It really is needed. I had started this off saying, what is a storyboard anyway? And I understood that it's possible to make a movie without a storyboard. But I think in this case, a storyboard is needed. That is almost the very next, or maybe the very next step that is needed. I need a visual artist, or maybe more than one. There's a movie being made about Van Gogh, where many visual artists are working together because they are able to paint in the style of Van Gogh. So it wouldn't have to necessarily be one, but I need a visual artist who can draw fairly quickly too, because there's so much to be done. But it really would need to be done by sort of with one style. I'm stopped on that one. I can't draw. It's as simple as that. I just cannot draw. I've said before, somebody could put a gun to my head and say, draw, and I'd just say, shoot me. I can't. You know, but there are Google images, like hands at the beginning of it, an old man's hands folded over his shepherd's staff. That really is the first thing that you see in the movie. You know, if I go into Google Images, I can find images of hands. And that's very helpful. I mean, but still, if it weren't all done in the same style, it just wouldn't work to piece it together. But something else I wanted to say here, building from the center outward, that's something that in the real world, my real world, I do that. I'll build a building from the center of it outward, often, or from the middle downward or upward. You don't have to. Well, in the case of rafters, I'm going to be showing you that. No, I mean, the normal thing to do is you start at one side of the building and you lay your rafters out, you go across the building. These little buildings I'm building, I'm probably going to build the rafters in the middle and then go outward. And I find it applies to a lot of different things. Well, back to this movie. This movie could be created from Act 3 outward. As a matter of, well, I'm going to do a second video, maybe today or I'll maybe call it tomorrow, about my thoughts about the music itself. The music probably should start at the climax of Act 4. And then, well, all right, anyway, a visual artist could do that. In other words, a visual artist could do a drawing of each one of the characters as they appear, and draw. Well, I'm probably not being very clear about that, but you might understand. Another thing, well, here, it's not necessarily chronological. You don't necessarily have to build something like this chronologically. Ultimately, yes, but I've done that with my storytelling. I gave a chronology. Oh, and the soundtrack can wait. In the next video, I think I'm going to have some things to say about the soundtrack. But you see, the soundtrack would be very important in a movie, because if you've got 100 people, 150 people sitting in a room watching something, that's pretty awkward if there's no sound. And so the player, they got, like my uncle Johnny, when he was a kid, he played the piano in the movie theater. He was paid to do that, and he just watched the movie and play to fill up the sound. So it's a wordless movie now. So as a movie, the soundtrack would be important, I think, but it could wait. This movie could actually be published as a storyboard. It could be published on YouTube. As a matter of fact, the whole movie could be published on YouTube, which means it doesn't have to wait to find big money or producers, or now to make it actually really effective, so people believe what they see. Seeing is believing, and so ultimately it still should be a movie where where real people are filmed in a real place, resurrecting an aldea. But the storyboard could be done before that and could be widely known. That might actually be better, because a lot of poor people, for example, refugees, they may have a cell phone, but they can't be going to see a movie in a movie theater. All right, I guess that's enough for today. I could go on about the music, but I think I'll just wait, because that's enough for the moment. I've got some ideas of what to do about the music now. Bye for now.